Hi, I'm Carly Bell, and welcome to my craft room. Today I'll be showing you how to stabilize and hoop a toddler t-shirt for your single needle embroidery machine, like a Brother PE770, which is the machine I have. And they also came out with a newer model. It's called the PE800, but they're essentially the same. So the first thing you're going to want to do is gather all your supplies. So I have a 4 t-shirt for my youngest daughter. I have the 5x7 hoop that came with my machine, and I always like to use the grid that came with the hoop for placement. You will also need a disappearing fabric marker, and I have a couple rulers for placement on the shirt. And then next you're going to need your stabilizers. So I like to use a fusible poly mesh stabilizer. This is a cutaway, but I like it better than a heavier cutaway like this one because you can't see it, especially through a white shirt. Like, you can't see the stabilizer poking out around the edges of your applique or embroidery design. So I'll be using this, but I like to pair it with a tearaway stabilizer as well. And then lastly, for all my designs, I like to use a water-soluble topper to prevent the threads from the design like sinking down into the shirt. So this is everything you will need to hoop your shirt. All of the supplies that I use can be found on my website, carlybell.com. Almost all of the supplies I get for embroidery are on Amazon and are super cheap and easy to order and get it delivered right to your house. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I always do is pass an iron on the shirt real quick so that you can get all the wrinkles out, and make sure when you're placing your design it helps it from being crooked, to make sure that it's nice and pressed. So once your shirt is pressed, just make sure that the seams are all right. And then I use the grid that came with my hoop, and I use some rulers to help me figure out the placement. So to make sure it's centered, around a little more than 5 3/4. For the middle, and then I always like to have it about 2 inches from the top of the collar. Okay, once you get your placement and it looks good, you can use your disappearing fabric marker and just use the little cutout circles in the grid to place some dots. And then you can remove your grid and get your ruler back and draw some crosshairs. Okay, once you have your crosshairs, you can turn your shirt inside out to add the stabilizer. For white shirts, it's especially easy to see the crosshairs on the other side. So you can make sure it's nice and smooth. And the first is the cutaway poly mesh, but it is fusible. And I just cut a piece that is the actual size of the sewing field for this, and then iron it on. And then I layer the fusible tearaway on top, and this is actually bigger than the hoop itself, so it will poke out around the edges to make sure that it's hooped correctly. So just kind of center that and iron. Once that's done, you could turn the shirt back right side out. And now, take the outer part of the hoop, make sure it's loose, and place it in between the shirt. And then use the top layer of the hoop with the grid snapped in. And line up the crosshairs on your shirt with the crosshairs on the grid. Once you get it in place, snap the hoop down. Mine wasn't loose enough, so let me loosen it some more. Okay, so now you can take the grid off and your shirt is nice and taut, and you have your stabilizer is nice and going around all the edge. And so now I add the water-soluble topper. So enough just for the sewing field. And then I use some pins to keep it attached to the shirt, making sure that the pins are outside of your sewing field so that your needle doesn't hit them on accident. So that's it for hooping and adding your water-soluble topper. So now, because this is a single needle machine and not a multi-needle, we have the complication of making sure there is no material underneath the hoop while it's sewing. So now it's ready to load onto your machine. So one problem that is really common with a single needle machine is keeping the material of the shirt out of the way of the needle while it's sewing. Usually with, I'd say 3-4T and up, I don't have as much trouble. I am able to just sit by the machine, watch it. When it's getting to this top corner, you know, I'll move the material like this. When it gets to this corner, I will move it over. If you need to keep it away for the whole time and can't sit and babysit the machine, with the bigger kid shirts, one of the things you can do is use some masking tape or painter's tape and tape. As long as you're not taping the actual shirt and just the tape goes underneath, that's okay, because the threads can go through that and you can pull it off just like tearaway, and that will keep it out of the way. And you can use, you know, as much as you need. Again, make sure just the tape is gone on the back and not the shirt. So you can do that and then add some more here and keep it all away. There is another thing that I like to use for smaller, like a 12-month and 2T shirts and onesies, which I will show you in another video, but it's a really cool device that helps keep it out of the way. So this is something that you can do before you load on. So I am all done now with hooping my toddler shirt using two different kinds of stabilizer and a topper and placement. I hope this video helped you and that you can use this in some of your future works. come back again and see other things that I'm doing in my craft room. Like I said, hopefully I can make a video soon on another device that I use to help keep material out of the way on smaller shirts for kids and babies. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and click subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below. And again, check out my website, carlybell.com, for more information on machine embroidery and other things I do in my craft room. Thanks.